All right, we're continuing our conversations around feedback, and we've talked about some types who might struggle with it more for various reasons, and our type 3s can also have some challenges, but they tend to be one of the more comfortable types when delivering the feedback. And that makes sense because as a type who is striving to feel outstanding, have that success, reach that goal, that this feedback can just feel like part of the process. It's just along the way, we want to get better, we want to do things more efficiently, effectively, whatever it is, so that we can get to that goal, reach that success, ideally that much faster and be that much better. Now, of course, not everybody is going to process feedback the same way as you as a type 3 might. So you might be viewing this as efficiency and just the thing that needs to be said, while others might experience that directness as a little harsh. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, what you want is for people to actually change based on this feedback and feel like you're in their corner and not just managing their performance. So I'm going to give you a couple things to think about, and then a couple things to maybe think about avoiding. So similar to a type 2, type 3s also have a gift of being able to see the potential in somebody. So as a 3, when you're giving feedback, make sure that you're kind of leading with that genuine belief that you do have in people. It is a strength of yours. And making sure that they feel and that they know the possibilities, the success that you see in them, and that this conversation is just a way to help them get to that potential that you so much see in them. And then as somebody who is so focused on success, making sure that that feedback that you're giving is not connected to necessarily who they are as a person, but connected to the path to success, and maybe even asking them what they see as what is their definition of success, sharing your definition of success, and then tying the feedback to those definitions, ideally both of your definitions as much as possible. And I think the last one is something that probably comes natural for most 3s, and that is to keep the conversation forward focused as much as possible versus looking back and pointing out all the things that they did wrong. It's how can you change and get better moving forward. And then some things to avoid. This first one I know does not come as natural for a type 3, but doing what you can to recognize the emotional impact of what probably is some difficult feedback to deliver. And you can maybe even just address it. Like, I know this is hard to hear. However, I see the potential. I care about you. I care about your success. So I want to make sure that I share this with you. But it can be so easy for our type 3s who are so, let's get to the next thing, let's check it off, let's get to the goal, to kind of rush through that emotional aspect of it, but making sure you're allowing time and acknowledging the emotions that the person on the other end might be having. And then another one I know may not come as natural to you, but that is thinking that everybody appreciates direct feedback. And while some do, others prefer some more maybe relational softening or cushioning to help it land a little bit better. So give the feedback, be direct, and maybe adjust your delivery based on the person in front of you. And then our type 3s tend to always be going far and going fast. They tend to be checking the next thing off their to-do list, reaching the next goal. And so for a 3, it can feel efficient to pass by somebody they need to give that feedback to and just kind of pull them aside really quickly, give the feedback, and then go on. But on the receiving end, that might feel a little harsh, a little abrupt, not having a chance to ask questions or get clarification. So as a 3, doing what you can to carve out time to have that actual feedback conversation. And then just kind of as an overall feedback tip for our type 3s, you can either kind of say this as a preface or say this at the end, but something along the lines of like, I know that you have what it takes, and I want to help you get there and help you remove anything that's getting in your way. So if you happen to be a type 3, if there's anything you would add to this list that has worked well for that you do or that you avoid, or you have a type 3 manager and want to share some things that you really appreciate about them, I would love to hear about it. And these are the conversations that we have in our introduction workshops and our deeper dive workshops. And I'm going to invite you to check out those options for your own team at EnneagramMBA.com.